Social media is getting more and more crowded by the day. And unless you have a massive following, you got to know how to stand out, how to grab attention, drive engagement, and inspire action. But how do you do it in a way that drives real business results and revenue while staying true to you and your company's brand? Oh, right, this is the part where I show you how to do it. Okay, yeah, let's get into it. The key to breaking through the noise on social media and really standing out amongst everyone else that's on there is by harnessing these three superpowers. And the cool thing about all three of these is it's not just about social media and content. These three will help you elevate your business in general, even outside of social media. Number one, you need a point of view. You need a unique perspective that is not like everyone else in your industry. Now, what I'm not saying here is just make some perspective up or create some narrative that wasn't already there. Chances are you just need to look internally and say, how do we do things differently than everyone else does in our industry or that most people do in our industry? How do we push past the norms? How do we challenge status quo? And how do we get results for our customers because of this new way of thinking? And just think about all the brands out there, whether it's personal brands or company brands. Do they blend in and sound vanilla and sound just like everyone else? No. What they do is they take a stance. They have a unique opinion or perspective or story that they're trying to convince their audience to be a part of. And it's not going to be for everyone. You're going to repel certain people that are not the right customers or audience for you, and you're going to deeply attract the ones that are right for you. Now, here's where a lot of companies struggle with this, because when I ask them the question, what makes you unique? Or tell me about your unique point of view or your perspective, or how do you think about the industry differently? I typically hear answers like this. For us, it's our people. Well, it's our customer service is what makes us different. Yeah. It's that we care, or they focus on specialization. Specialization. It's a tough one to say. Specialize. They may say something like, we specialize in the tech industry. We serve small businesses to medium-sized businesses. And if it was a large business, we would do them too. So now these things may be true, but the problem is they're not going to help you stand out on social media or stand out with your content in general, because a ton of companies can say that. Most of them are just general blanket statements. They don't really hold a lot of weight or mean something. So here's what I want you to do when you think about your unique point of view or narrative on the industry. Think less about specialization and think more about identity. Now, even after I say some of this stuff, it's still kind of hard to nail this down for a lot of companies, and I totally get that. And at a certain point in my business, I struggled with this same thing too, which is part of the reason I'm talking about it. So let me give you an example, because if you're anything like me, it's like, hey, I get what you're saying, it makes sense to me, but show me an actual example of how this plays out, because then I can take that and I can kind of apply it to my business. So here you go. I'm going to use my company, Impacts Marketing. What makes our company, Impacts Marketing, unique? What is our point of view that nobody else has? Now, the mistake a lot of companies would make here is they would say something like, well, we specialize in video content. We serve the B2B markets. We specialize in companies that are between 3 and 50 million. And look, that's all fine to say. If you need to clarify that, that's totally fine. But that's not necessarily separating me from any other company that you can go and look up. So instead, what I want to do is I want to lead with our point of view on the industry, which separates us from every other company and truly does make us unique. And so one of the things that makes us unique is our philosophy on the video content industry. And our philosophy is this: we think video content should be a 24/7 sales rep for your business. And in a nutshell, what that means is that your videos should be constantly working for you to help the buyer through the buyer journey and close more deals, bring in more inbound leads, and then close more of those customers. That's what we believe video should be doing for you right this second. Now, see, not everyone's going to phrase it like that. Not everyone believes that, and not everyone lives that, certainly. We do. Now, from that philosophy, I can get more granular and I can talk about specific things that we do within that broader philosophy that still make us unique as well. And a couple things that come to my mind right now is, one, we believe that you should be building your video content team internally. We don't believe you should outsource all of your marketing to another company who does all of your copy, all of your posting, all of your videos, and you're going to sit behind the scenes and trust that that's the best content possible to deliver to your audience. We don't believe it works like that. The leaders need to get involved. The people at the company need to be involved. This is a collaborative process where you can retain these skills and talent and processes internally so you can build for years to come. Another thing that we believe in that makes us unique and we live it is we believe in edutainment, which I'm going to talk about here in a second, but we believe in the power of educating people through also entertaining them. Not everyone believes that. And one last thing that I would say that makes us unique too is we don't believe in gating content. We believe in being givers to our audience, and that when you give, it comes back and you get. So if we're going to work with a company potentially, I want to know that our philosophy aligns with what they're trying to accomplish. I want to know that they're trying to build something internally to a certain extent. I want to know that they're okay pushing the envelope and they like the idea and want to try the idea of edutainment. And I want to know that they're givers, that they want to give to their audience, that they're not interested in hiding everything and gating everything and only giving their audience or customers information when they get something first. And so you can see how that makes us, one, unique, but it also allows us to screen out good customers, great customers, from ones that just don't align. They're just not for us. The content that we now put out doesn't sound like everyone else because we're not like everyone else. We do have a unique perspective and angle and narrative. And so we talk about why this narrative matters. And then we talk about how you go and live it, how you go and implement it and get results and get to those dream states. So that's number one. And that's probably the most powerful one. So I wanted to touch on that first. But these other two are very important as well if you want to stand out on social media. And that second one is what I just touched on earlier, which is edutainment. And if you don't know what edutainment is, it's okay. I would just ask you this question. Have you been living under a rock the past 5 years? Edutainment content is simply combining an educational or inspirational, a good message with entertainment. It's just finding ways to fuse in some entertainment, getting the audience to emotionally open up, getting them to smile, laugh, think, reflect, inspiring them through storytelling, through humor, through creativity, through switching up how you deliver your message. And why does this help you stand out on social media? Because one, not a lot of people are doing it. So from that standpoint alone, you're going to stand out. But two, it's like we just talked about. If you can entertain somebody, get them to smile, laugh, think, be inspired as you're teaching them something, that's really powerful. Think about if you're watching a keynote speaker and one of the speakers just going to educate you. They're not going to move much. They're not going to make you smile or laugh occasionally. They're just going to kind of deliver that message. Now, some people might like that. They may just keep it serious the whole time. Other people, they're going to enjoy cracking a smile and laughing occasionally because it keeps the audience engaged. It allows us to hook an audience in, grab their attention, but then also retain them throughout the video because we're finding ways to get them to open up emotionally. Now, if you're wondering, okay, but how do I actually make edutainment content and videos? What are the different ways to do it and how would I go and execute that? Luckily for you, I made a whole video on that right here. You definitely should go check it out. And the third way to stand out on social media and break through the noise is by knowing your audience better than they know themselves and be obsessed with serving them consistently. Have you ever consumed a piece of content and said, man, I feel like that person's in my mind right now. I feel like they read my mind. I feel like they know exactly how I feel. The way they just described that or told that story, that's exactly what I'm going through right now. I can tell you from a creator standpoint, I've had people tell me that hundreds of times. What that means is that you know how to speak to your audience in a way that they really feel like you understand them. And that's the whole point, right? We're not trying to talk to everyone, to the masses, to billions of people necessarily. We're trying to talk to the people that we want to make an impact on. So obsessively studying and taking notes when you're in discovery calls, customer calls, looking in the comment section of the content, whether it's yours or other creators in your industry, and studying what do you see there? What are they craving that they're not getting? You're going to find that they'll give you a lot of feedback. They'll tell you what's working and what's not working. Your job is really to pay attention to it and then go and act on it. Now, there's a ton of creative things that are starting to happen with this when it comes to AI too, or we're starting to analyze comments. Like I just took a YouTube video, for example, and I just copy and pasted all of the comments that I got on this high performing YouTube video. And I asked AI, ChatGPT in this case, to analyze all the comments and give me trends, give me takeaways, give me some insights from what you see and hear. And then a couple seconds later, it gave me all that. And then based on that, I said, hey, give me some recommendations. Based on the feedback, the insights, the analysis, what type of content should I be creating right now that would take it to the next level? And then a few seconds later, gave me the response. So it's not even just the human, you analyzing the feedback and the comments and what people are saying now. You can actually leverage AI to get feedback in your content. These tools are going to help us understand our audience better, but at the core of this is human behavior. And if you can understand the humans better than everyone else does, you're going to create content better than everyone else does, which is going to help you stand out on social media. And now we're going to get into Q&A. First question, how do I discover my unique point of view if everything seems to have been done before? This is where you got to look internally. So usually when people ask this question, they're already doing something that is unique. They just haven't built a framework around it. They haven't built the language around it. When I was using video content to help drive inbound leads and convert more sales, I was technically using video content as a 24/7 sales rep for my business. I just didn't say it like that. I didn't have the language down. I didn't have the clear story behind it. So the first place I would go is I would analyze what you're doing now. And you can definitely use AI to help you do this. Hey, based on what I'm doing, here's what I offer in my business. Here's what makes me unique. Here's how we do things a little bit differently. Help me create a framework around this. Help me create an easy to understand philosophy or story around this. Because chances are you're doing a lot of really cool things and unique things in your industry that would help you bring a unique point of view to the social media landscape. You just haven't really penciled it out and gotten clear on what that is. Question number 2, what if my unique point of view is controversial or could alienate potential clients? Good. Your brand and your content should repel certain people. It should repel the people that you don't want to work with. Now, I'm not talking about disrespecting people or being mean. I think you should always lead with empathy and care and understanding. But certainly there's certain things that I say that people disagree with, that maybe they even take offense to. That's okay. I'm not trying to please those people necessarily. Now, sometimes those people come back around and they end up converting to the way I think anyways, but sometimes they don't. What I'm trying to do is attract the people, my community, the people that stand up and say, yes, I like that. I agree with that. I want to adapt that. I'm willing to fight for that. That's what I believe in too. Question number 3, how do I stay motivated and consistent, especially in the early days when engagement may be low? This is one of the biggest reasons that people quit content, because they start doing it pretty consistently for a month, 2 months, 3 months, 4 months, and they don't see, oh my gosh, amazing through the roof results. And they go, maybe I just don't got it. I don't really know if this works super well. And they end up giving up. So you need to figure out, how are you measuring the success of your content? And it should be something along the lines of qualitative feedback in the beginning, then the quantitative feedback, and then the actual business results and revenue. But if you quit at 4 months, the 5th or 6th month could have been that takeoff moment. If I had quit after 4 months, I would have never gotten to this place today. So be patient with yourself, but you need to be building skills and fundamentals along the way. You need to be getting better. And you also need to be getting feedback from the audience that you want to attract. And if they're not coming to you and giving you the feedback, you need to go out and share your content with people that you trust, customers, prospects, having people look at it and getting some feedback that way. Last question, how do I handle negative feedback or criticism in my content? First of all, I'd say there's far more positive feedback and comments than the negative stuff. But it's funny, human nature, we'll focus on that one negative comment that we got out of 200, and that's what will sit with us, right? It's just because that's how we're wired. We're wired to look for the problems, look for the threats, look for the things that could potentially harm us. But here's how I handle negative feedback or comments. I separate it into 2 buckets. One is just somebody disagreeing with me, or maybe it's harsh feedback that kind of stings a little bit. And if it's just that, I look at it and I go, is there any truth to this? Sometimes the truth hurts. Other times I go, this seems way off from what I've heard from everything else. I think it's just a one-time thing. And if there is truth to that, then I need to reflect. I need to say, why did I come across that way? Or why did they think that? Could I have said that better? Could I have told that story a little bit differently? Is there something I missed out that should have been in there? For me, it's a learning opportunity in a lot of cases. The second bucket is just people hating on you, where it's not constructive. It's not really feedback. It's just people being mean, to be honest. And how I think about that is, imagine how much that person must be hurting inside for them to go to basically a stranger and hate on their content for someone that's trying to put out something that's useful and impactful for other people. You got to be in a tough spot. So I generally try to have empathy for those people and say, I don't know what you're going through right now, but I just honestly wish you the best. That's really all you can do. If you let it get to you, you get fired up, you go back at them, they go back at you. Now you're just wasting time and precious energy that you have to put towards building your business, building your dream, your relationships, whatever it is. You're letting them win because they're zapping this energy out of you and they're replacing it with negative energy. Don't let them occupy space in your head. You control that space. So just understand that they're probably in a tough spot. Do you think they're super happy and everything's going great and they're living their best life, and then yet they go on social media and hate on random people in the comments? There's nobody that you know that's successful and positive and happy that would do that. So understand they're probably in a bad space. Wish them the best and move on.